Calling All Authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast, hosted by Robert A. Lane, is on the air, featuring everything you need to know about narrating your own audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. From special guests, including authors and professionals from the book industry, to sharing tools and techniques needed to be a confident and compelling narrator. The journey starts now. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
Thank you for joining. Appreciate you being here. Fun topic today. Excited to talk about the audiobook narration must-haves. That is the topic for today. And it's a good one, especially for you as an author, because again, I am a big advocate and firm believer that especially nonfiction authors, every nonfiction author for sure, you need to narrate your own audiobook. You need to tell your own story, coming from the source, coming from first person, because that makes all the difference in the world of creating an awesome audiobook. Because again, you lived it, you breathed it, you experienced it. It is your story. Other narrators are great, professional narrators. That's their job if you do hire somebody who is a professional, and they will technically sound fine. The only issue is that you have somebody who did not live your experience. So there's a disconnect, right? There's a disconnect, an emotional disconnect. And that emotional disconnect is a huge thing. It's a huge thing because those intangibles, those things that you don't physically touch, but you emotionally feel, that is the secret sauce of what makes an incredibly awesome audiobook. Because it's the energy, it's the emotion, it's the sincerity, it's definitely your true authenticity. And that is something that you have to have when you do your audiobook narration, because remember, you are an author brand. This is what you do. This is your business, right? Don't ever consider yourself a hobbyist. Let's get rid of that thought right now, right away. You're not a hobbyist. If you wrote your book during nights and weekends, but you did it and you published it and it's out there for the world to read, you are, as far as I'm concerned, a professional writer. And you need to think of yourself as a professional, because you are a business. You are an entrepreneur. Embrace entrepreneurship. It's a beautiful thing. It's hard. It's a lot of work, always, but it is a great thing because being your own boss, being in control of your own products, and putting yourself out there, it's a great thing. Now, it's funny because a lot of people, and it's just the way I think human beings are. You know, when you see somebody who's super successful, whether it's a business or maybe it's a band or musician or whatever, right? And they shoot to fame. It's like, who is this person? Where did they come from? Man, they got so lucky. They were tapped on the shoulder and said, okay, son, this is your turn to be famous. Sometimes that does happen, it's a very, very, very small percentage, but sometimes that does. But what people tend to not to think about and forget to realize that to hit that pinnacle of fame and fortune and being successful, there were probably years and years and years of time spent building the business, building the career. And what we see is the end result. Getting there, that journey getting there, man, that's a whole other thing. But that's, again, another great thing of entrepreneurship, and you need to embrace that. So you, as an author, you are an author brand. Love and embrace it. That's what you are. Your products, of course, are your ebook, your paperback, your hardcover, and especially your audiobook. So this is what we're going to be talking about. Audiobook narration must-haves. These are things that you must have to do a great audiobook narration, okay? And some of these may sound kind of general. Some of them may even sound like, yeah, of course. But I tell you, a lot of authors don't do this. So let's just start with the first one. I'm going to give you 4 must-haves, okay? So this first one is really important. And this is something that I teach in my audiobook coaching program, which is a program I do have that's called Your Book, Your Voice. You can go into the description, by the way, and check out the links that I have there about the program and find out more about it, okay? But aside from that, a little plug, but aside from that, The one thing that I teach in my program that's super, super important, and it's the first thing that I do with authors that enroll in the audiobook coaching program, and that is about grounding, about being focused, and especially having confidence and believing in yourself, believing in your own voice, believing that you have what it takes to do a fantastic narration. Because guess what? You do. You have what it takes to do a great audiobook narration. Uh, Perfect example. If you go to my website at robertlanecoaching.com, and on the homepage, if you scroll down, I have clips of authors that have helped create their audiobooks. These aren't professional voiceover people or narrators. These aren't people who do speaking engagements, do uh, hundreds of thousands of dollars in speaking gigs every year. Well, I wish. Uh, no, these are authors who were compelled to write a story just like you. And they wanted to tell their story in their own voice because it's their experience, which they did. And when you listen to these clips, you hear the author's personality and all those intangibles, right? Those things that make a great audiobook, the energy, the emotion, the sincerity, and especially the authenticity. It really comes through in their narration. And they did such a fantastic job, which means that you, of course, can do a fantastic job yourself. All right. You just need the proper guidance and training. We're going to get to that point in just a little bit. But the main thing that I wanted to really impress upon you is that being grounded and focused and in the present moment and having that confidence and believability in your voice, knowing that you can do it because you can, is crucial. You got to tell that subconscious mind of yours that you do have the skills to do it. You do. You really do. So be focused, be grounded, be in the present moment. Don't bring anything into that has nothing to do with your audiobook, right? Don't bring anything into the room, right? Nothing, mentally or physically for that matter. When you're recording your audiobook, be grounded and focused and in the present moment. Don't worry about the past, don't worry about the future, and have confidence in yourself. I have a catchphrase. I have a lot of catchphrases, but I'm going to share with you this one, and that is, I am who I am, I do what I do, and I am not ashamed of it. I love that catchphrase. And this one I did come up all by my lonesome. Look at that. I have my moments. I have my moments of creativity. But it's a good one because it's a confidence builder, and that's what I use it for. So like, for example, if you're not feeling confident, we'll use audiobook narration. If you're not feeling confident, right? And what really is one of the biggest factors of this is because people are worried about what other people think. They're not going to want to hear my voice. They don't want to hear me tell my story. They're not going to want to listen to me. They're not going to like how I sound. What you're doing is you're assuming something that 9 out of 10 times is not even true. You're creating a false belief and you're putting that into your subconscious. So what you're doing is you're putting that bad fuel. We want to put good premium fuel in your subconscious, positive fuel, not negative fuel. And that's negative. So don't do that. That's a false belief. Don't lie to yourself, okay? Because that's what you're doing. Don't do it. All right? That's where the confidence comes in. So I say to myself, hey, I don't care what other people think. And I just say it as a statement. And that's how you should do it too. Just say it as a statement. I don't care what other people think. Because I am who I am, I do what I do, and I am not ashamed of it. It's confidence. It's a simple statement that just builds confidence, okay? That's number one, okay? That's grounding. That is very, very important to do a great audiobook, is you have to be focused and grounded and confident, okay? The second thing is when you're recording your audiobook, and I highly recommend, and this is what I do with the authors that I work with in my program, is that I actually provide them with the professional recording equipment that they need to set up their own recording space. And you should do the same thing as well. And don't cheapen out, right? No cheap mics, no cheap headphones, no cheap products. You gotta, again, you're an entrepreneur. This is representing your author brand. So you cannot cut corners. You want to put the highest quality product out there that represents you. your author brand. That's why it's so important to not cut corners, okay? So your recording space is super, super important. And, it's more than just setting up a microphone or thinking you're going to record on voice memo or something like that. No, you got to do it right. Again, no cutting corners. You got to do it right. So when you're setting up your own recording space, things to consider. Number one, what does it sound like in the room that you're setting up in? Is it a very bright sounding room with wood floors and nothing on the walls, and it's very reverberation is the word I was looking for. But there's a lot of echo, basically. If the room that you're setting up your recording space sounds like you're in a bathroom or you're in a cathedral, no, not a good place, okay? Not a good place, because you don't want to have all this echo and background and a lot of noise that's happening when you do your narration. So pick your spot carefully, all right? And if you have to do some treatment to the walls or whatever, that's fine, but set up a space. Matter of fact, I've had several authors that I've worked with in my audiobook coaching program tell me, oh, I have a walk-in closet. And I set up my computer and a microphone and everything that I needed in my walk-in closet. I got the clothes surrounding me. It absorbs sound, and it actually sounds really, really good. And you know what? That's perfect. If it works for you, do it. Okay? You don't need to be in a fancy studio. I mean, I got my studio, but I'm doing a lot of professional work, and I need the equipment that I have, et cetera, et cetera. You don't have to do that, all right? If your walk-in closet sounds great and you feel comfortable in that space, that's all that matters, because you want a quiet space and you want to feel comfortable, right? You want to feel relaxed, because that's, again, part of the confidence thing too. See, those 2 points are connected. They go hand in hand. You want that confidence, but you need to feel comfortable in the space, all right? And when you're setting up your recording space, get everything all set up. You need to dial in how things sound and how things look on the program that you're using to actually record your audiobook. And something that I teach the authors who go through my program, and I guide with them, because this is Do It With You, by the way. I do have a DIY program that if you want to do it yourself, you're more than welcome to do it. And I do offer a lot of support in that program, by the way. There's a lot of DIY programs that are out there, guys selling this and that and the other, but what they don't tell you is the amount of hours that it does take to do all the audio posts. And that's another issue that I'm going to talk about as one of the must-haves for audiobook narration, which I'm going to get to in just a second. But to really do it right, almost every author that I've worked with, I work with on a one-on-one basis. And that's great, because it is Do It With You. So you have the support system and you have the accountability, right? You have an accountability partner. That's my job as a coach, to help you to make sure you stay on track and that you're doing a great, great job. Plus, the 30 plus years I've worked in the entertainment business, you're getting that, okay? You're getting that of somebody who's been through it, who's done it. I did the same thing when I published my book. So you have an author who has experience creating audiobooks and doing audio editing for many, many years. That's what you get when we work together. But, again, that's something I'll touch a little bit, because that is on my list, by the way, about the must-haves. But having a good recording space is important. But again, I'd love to work with you if that's something that you would like to do. So again, just check out the links in the description. All right. So when you set up your recording space, again, very important that it's quiet, that there's no distractions, that you're comfortable. Right. And the beauty about setting up your own recording space, and this is key. The beauty about setting up your own recording space is that you can record on your schedule, when your voice feels the best, when you feel the best. Maybe you're great at 2 a.m. So what? Do it, because you have your recording space set up. And that's really great, because you're not bound down by someone else's schedule. If you go to a studio, which actually could get very, very expensive. What if you're having a bad recording day and you don't get as much done as you wanted to? And the engineer is like, okay, kid, time's up. And they kick you out. You don't want to be under that pressure, because being under that type of pressure is going to affect the way that you do your narration. And we don't want that. So having your own recording space really is a good thing. All right. Third part, right? The third part I want to share with you in regards to audiobook narration must-haves is knowing how to do a great narration, how to be authentic, how to be natural, how to be conversational. And that's where the coaching aspect comes in. I mean, you can watch a lot of YouTube videos, and again, DIY courses say, oh, just, do this and do that and whatever. And then they wipe their hands and they walk away, and then you're on your own. I don't work that way, and I don't like working that way. And even in my DIY program, I do offer support. But if you really want to do this and do it right, then, have somebody help you and train you and guide you and show you the tools and techniques that it takes to do a great narration, because you can do it. And you know what? Learning these tools and working with somebody, that's why I love doing what I do, because I see so much great progress with the authors I work with. But when you do that, you know what skill you're also developing? You're developing a skill to be able to do public speaking, to feel comfortable talking in front of a group of people. You have now the tools to be confident enough to do speaking gigs. So you learn a lot of great things when you're learning how to do an audiobook narration. And I love teaching that to authors. And I've seen quite a few authors that I've helped out in creating their audiobooks. They've gone out there and they've done speaking gigs, which is beautiful. God, I love that. Love seeing that. Love seeing that. So teaching you the tools and techniques that it takes to do a great narration is really, really crucial. And that is something that I do. You got to think about, who are you really talking to? And that goes a lot deeper than just saying, oh, my genre is weight loss. I'm a weight loss coach and this is what I do. Or I've written a memoir and I'm talking about my cancer journey, or I'm talking about growing up in a narcissistic, home, or whatever your memoir is about, or even if it's about travel. I traveled the world and this is my book about my travels. Whatever your book is about, you need to be comfortable enough and to express it and bring those emotions out naturally, not forced, not reedy, again, it's not a performance. Okay? An audiobook narration is not a performance. You need to be you. You need to be you, being your true, authentic self. That's what makes a great audiobook, because then, you know what? That's what people want to hear. If the author is telling their story in their own voice, that's what they want to hear, because they want to hear the authenticity of the person who lived it. It's coming from the source. So being able to do a narration naturally and conversationally is really crucial. And that's what I can teach you to do. The next piece of the puzzle, that's 3, number 4. And I mentioned it earlier about editing and publishing and all that aspect of it. A lot of times authors don't realize that it's more than just, I'm going to record my audiobook. Great. Is it meeting the exact specifications for publication so you can get on Audible, Amazon, Apple, and any other distribution platform that you want to be on? Because if it doesn't, your audiobook will be rejected. Bottom line. And I've seen it happen time and time again. I had an author that I worked with he had written several books. And before he worked with me, he did an audiobook of one of his previous books. Went to a studio, by the way, to record it. And when they uploaded it for publication in Audible, Amazon, and Apple, it got rejected. And he ended up spending a ton of money to get all his audio files fixed up. Because, he spent hours recording this audiobook. And he had to fix it. Luckily, he was able to. But then when he came to me to do his next book, I guaranteed him, you're not going to go through that, because when we do it, we're going to do it right. We're going to do it right the first time. You will be published right the first time, and you won't have to go through that. So specifications are very important. Editing is something you cannot avoid. You have to have your audiobook edited. It has to be cleaned up. It has to make sure that everything flows right and that it sounds the way it's supposed to sound. And again, a lot of these DIY programs that are out there, they show you, just, we do a little snap edit here and do this and that and the other, and it sounds great and whatever. But when you sit there and you try to do it, yourself, it takes a lot of time. It really does. And a lot of these DIY people who sell these cheap products for, $497, $500, $800, or whatever they sell it for, they take your money, they go to the bank, they're happy, but that's the last you see of them. And when you need help and support, they're not there. All right. They make it look really easy, and they tell you, oh, it only takes, it's just a few hours and you're done. I'm going to call them out on that. That's false advertising, because that is not true. That's the farthest thing from the truth. Furthest should be further. Farther refers to distance. I remember this from Honors English. Farther refers to distance. Further means in addition to. All right. Anyway, there's your little grammar lesson for the day. I don't know why that popped into my head, but it did. But the point is, these DIY product, I guess, people who sell their little course are great on hype. They're good salesmen, but when it actually comes to authors sitting down and doing it, they're like, wow, this is a lot more than I thought it was. That they didn't make it out like it was going to be this. And less than 15% of authors that purchase these DIY programs, by the way, guess what? Never gets done. And then a smaller percentage of that, probably half of that, start, but then they end up shelving it. And there's a very small percentage of authors who actually get it done. So, just be wary. So editing is a big deal. When I edit for my authors, I listen to everything in real time. You have to. If there's some company out there that says, oh, we'll clean up your audio, in a couple of hours, that means they didn't listen to your audiobook. What if there's a mispronunciation? What if you slur a word? What if there are gaps in between paragraphs or sentences? What if there are some anomalous sounds that have happened in the background that cannot be edited out? And you're going to have to go in and redo certain sentences just to fix it. Who's going to help you with that? A DIY program is going to. Do it yourself. That's what that is. And these other companies who throw your audio files into a restoration app or something to clean it up, they're going to miss those things. I have a 3-step process when I do editing. I go editing, I do the mixing, and then I do a third part of it is doing a full QC pass, which is quality control, to make sure that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. And then I do the uploading for the author, so you don't even have to worry about that step. You're guaranteed to be published the first time. My job as an audiobook coach and producer is to make sure that you do a great narration. And I do all the heavy lifting for you. And I do spend a ton of hours on each audiobook that I work on. 80 hours, 100 hours, whatever it takes of editing time, because it's worth it. Because I listen to everything in real time. You deserve that. You deserve the best. I don't believe in cutting corners, and I'm not going to let any author do an audiobook that I work with have any cheap stuff happening, right? No cutting corners. So those are the 4 things that are really must-haves that you have to have for your audiobook narration, okay? Number 1, you've got to be grounded and focused and believing in yourself and be confident that you can do the job, because you can, all right? Number 2 is, of course, your recording space. Make sure that it's set up in a nice, comfortable, quiet space. And I'm going to say again about not having any distractions while you're recording. If there's other people in your house, say, hey, next couple of hours, don't disturb me. I'm recording. Don't have your phone with you. No distractions, because you want to be in your zone and focused on doing a great job. All right. Which brings me to point number 3, and that was narration, right? Your actual narration, how to be natural, how to be conversational, how to express everything from all those intangibles, the emotion, the energy, the authenticity, especially. That's very, very important. And learning how to do that and to do it correctly is really going to make for a great audiobook if you do it right. All right. And then finally, you have to have all the audio post-production done, editing and uploading, and all those things that you need to do after the audiobook is recorded. Very important. Now, if you want to work with me, I'd love to work with you. This is what I do for a living. I have a 12-week program. It's the Your Book, Your Voice VIP audiobook coaching program. You can go to robertlanecoaching.com, and there's plenty of buttons to book a call. And that's the first step, because I like talking to you. I want to talk with you. I want to make sure that you and I resonate, because we're going to be working together for the next 12 weeks to get this done. And this is do it with you. All right. So I'm not going to leave you hanging. And if it works out, we have a conversation. I want to find out more about your book and what you want to do marketing wise. There's things that I want to find out. All right. So we have a phone call. And after that, if we resonate, you enroll. And in 12 weeks, your audiobook will be done. And remember, I do send you the professional equipment, and I don't use cheap gear. I'm talking like $400 worth of equipment is yours to keep. That's part of the program. And then I will guide you step by step through all the setup and preparation, and through teaching you how to do a great narration. I'll handle your editing. I handle your uploading. I do all of that for you, and we get you published. And any platform that you want to be on, not just only Audible, Amazon, and Apple. If you just want that, great. If you want to be on other distribution platforms, great. No problem. That's what I do. So check out the links in the description and book a call. All right. I'd love to hear from you. Would love to hear from you. All right. So remember those 4 points. Remember, these are must-haves to do your audiobook narration. Again, if you are a nonfiction author, and even if you are a fiction author, because I've worked on fiction books as well, narrate your own book because it's coming from the source. You are the one who lived it. You wrote it. You breathed it. It is your experience. No one can tell that story better than you. It is yours, not another narrator, and definitely not AI. Don't cheapen out and have something that's a misrepresentation of your author brand. You're worth too much to do that. All right. Okay, my friends, one last little assignment for you before we wrap things up. And that is, when you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger. All right. Say hello to them, because that small gesture of kindness can make the world of difference in somebody's life. So be a life changer. Have a great week, my friends. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane. Again, check out the links in the description to find out more about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. And again, you can go to robertlanecoaching.com to find out more as well. All right, my friends, have a great week. Take care.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode. And remember, only you can narrate your story the way it's meant to be heard.